Hi, welcome to episode 92. Take 2, 3,
10.
something like that. We have tried. We have tried. My internet connection, as usual, was the culprit for this time. And then scheduling kind of in there because as reported before, I had an extremely busy week. So I was kind of the dickhead this time. It was um yeah, because I've had one appointment after another this week, and tomorrow is hopefully going to be my day of rest.
I have a crazy week next week. I'm
As of
probably gonna need some best friend therapy between Saturday and Sunday.
okay, gotcha. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, so yeah, this past week was my really busy week, and it was very hard to tie me down to record. Even today, I'm like, okay, we got to be out of here at a certain time. Um, I got my bed. I love it. Um, the first night, I was like, because I was excited for that zero gravity position thing. So first night, that's what we did, right? And so I asked Roy the next day, I'm like, how was it? How much did you love it? And he was like, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't get comfortable having my head raised up and my legs up. And he was like, I just couldn't get comfortable. So, then for a couple nights, we just slept flat. So this is what I was starting to tell you. And I'm like, no, let's just save this for recording because this is funny. So we were talking about it last night about like, so you don't want your head raised at all, like at all. And he was like, yeah, we could try it. And I'm like, no, 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 no. So anyway, long story short, he puts it up. I've been listening to like the binaural,
Mhm.
like for sleep and third eye stuff. So I got one of those headbands that you put on your sleep. It works as a sleep mask too. It's my new best friend. I mean, my room is extremely dark at night anyway, so I don't need a sleep mask. It just, you know, for aesthetic, I guess. So I'm falling asleep. Roy says, I'm gonna go get some cereal. So he gets up, has some cereal, comes back to bed. I'm like, okay, so I can go back to sleep now. I got this in my ear, and I'm like drifting off. And the next thing I know, I feel like I'm falling because he is now putting the head down. And I'm like, what? And once I realized he was putting like the head down, I was like, okay, I can go to sleep.
That is pretty funny. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I like woke up freaking out. So I don't know how long I had been sleeping. I'm thinking not very long, but I start freaking out because I'm moving and I shouldn't be moving because I'm laying down. So yeah, that
That's too
was
funny.
my fun little, but I love the bed. It's extremely comfortable. I love it, love it, love it. And of course, the next day, um, I couldn't talk about it on here because well, they're not supposed to because we say potty mouth words. Um, I couldn't say anything because my grandkids listen. So I know I've talked before, like the middle one is an extremely talented little artist. Like he is so talented. And I'm going to show you the drawing that this is. So this is the drawing.
Hmm.
And I had went to a consultation and he knew about the consultation. Well, I kind of fibbed to him a little bit and I said the lady that I went to doesn't do other people's work. And then yesterday, I surprised him.
That looks fucking awesome.
I am so obsessed with it. And probably once we're done recording, I can take that you can see I got like they put a derm safe derm or derm safe or something derm. I don't know,
Mhm.
but they put it on there, and you know how like after a couple days, you're still kind of it feels like what's the word I'm looking for? Not tingly, not tingly. It feels like fresh scratches still,
Mhm.
and it hurts to touch. Like I don't know what this stuff does, but it's amazing. First time I ever had it was with the Practical Magic one. And I'm like, oh, that stuff's nice because it like within an hour that initial stinging is gone. And because Judy went with me because she was like, I kind of want to see it. So she went with me, and then we stopped at Walmart and got a few things from there. And by the time we got out of Walmart, it was no longer stinging. I went to work, had no problems with it at work, showed it off to a lot of people, may have gotten Jackson a job. Yeah. So, because no longer my team leader, but my favorite team leader, I was showing it to him and he was like, can he draw ravens? And I'm like, probably. So he bought a new home about a year ago and he's like working on it, fixing it up, getting it the way he wants it. And he was like, I really want some ravens drawn on my wall. And I'm like, okay, like we could probably make this happen. So he's supposed to whip up a couple of different sketches for ravens so I can take it in and show the team leader and everything. And he was like, I'll pay him whatever he wants. And he's like, he can just pay me in McDonald's. So yeah, there's that.
I think
Um,
he would need a little more than McDonald's for painting ravens on a wall.
yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like,
But I love it because that means he has the enthusiasm and desire for the art.
yeah. Oh,
He totally a starving artist. He's like, just give me McDonald's.
right, starving artist, exactly. Um, well, his sketchbook was out of blank paper about a week ago. And I kept saying, I'll get you one, I'll get you one. Well, the way the tattoo thing worked, when I went in for the consultation, I put the deposit down and she charges like by the hour. So like a half hour would be 100. Well, that was the deposit I put down. So I literally only had to give her tip when I was there on Thursday. Like
Oh,
that was
that's
it.
awesome.
Um, so because that only took her a half an hour. Yeah.
That's freaking fantastic.
Yeah. I was very happy, very impressed. Um, and yeah, so afterwards I'm like, I'm going to get him his sketchbook. So we went to Walmart, got the sketchbook, and he has been sketching anime all weekend. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Nice.
I'll have to send you the video later when I surprised him when I showed it to him yesterday that he was Judy was like, do you think he'll cry? And I'm like, no. He and then later he was like, I was very close. I knew he wouldn't though. He was pretty shocked and in awe.
That's
So
awesome. Very awesome. I wish I could do some tattoo therapy.
oh,
I really wish I could.
it's I keep saying this is my last one, but I've said that like 5 tattoos ago. And now I'm thinking, well, I've got one over here. Now I need one over here. It's a whole thing. And
You're
yeah,
gonna have sleeves.
I kind of want to work for that. I mean, I feel like I'm getting there. Like I got some blank spots right here. But yeah, I feel like I'm getting there. Like I don't want a full coverage sleeve, but yeah, it's a whole thing.
I wish I was allowed.
Yeah, that don't work with me. There's no allowed. Yeah,
And
no.
it says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, there's no allowed. Now, I will talk to my husband and say, like, I want to do this. Go ahead. It's your body. Do what the hell you want. Okay, good. So you know, pretty much everyone I have has a meaning behind it. I mean, this was just they were doing like the flash sale. It's a ghost holding coffee. Like I had to. Um, but you know, everything else, like this one has my kids' initials in the beads, and of course, like this one, and you know, now this one. Judy has the matching one. My husband has a matching one. Um, my best friend here has a matching one. And that's, you know, Gary Allen's logo. I've got a couple on my back, some on my legs. Like every one of them have a meaning to me. Like, so it's not like I'm just willy-nilly getting like nothing wrong with it, but like an octopus. And I know people have it because especially here in Michigan because it's a Red Wings thing. Um, so I do know a few people that's got like the octopus for Red Wings, but not just, you know, that's probably a bad example being from Michigan. But um like I just don't have a random pair of scissors anywhere. You know what I mean? Like they all mean something to me. So yeah. And Roy could say, yeah, and he has said, I think he's got enough. But then I find one I want like this, and he is like, yeah, go for it. Yeah. So yeah. Um,
That's awesome.
so yeah, I think other than that, the chiropractor appointment, which was amazing. I have another one Monday, and now I'm no longer scared. Now I'm just excited.
Told you you'd like it.
Yeah, it was like it was nothing major. He didn't do like any I was expecting, like I was telling you before, like to be bent like a pretzel. Um, I mean,
He'll say that till you're less nervous.
I wouldn't have been mad about it because you know. Um, but you know, like he really helped with my neck because, you know, looking down at my job all day and, you know, usually when you have your phone, you're looking down. So yeah, gave me some
Yep.
exercises. So yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, for me, I'm looking at screens all day. And like lately, I've been working on my civics. So I have like, I'll take my laptop to work and then I have my computer screen, which honestly is a huge freaking screen. And it's so weird to me to go and use other computers like at the college and the screen is freaking tiny. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, where is everything?
Oh, this is so cute.
But then I'll take my laptop. And so then like I'll have my laptop here and then I have my work screen here. And then I'll have my phone like here or, sitting over here. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a whole setup. And it's kind of funny because like the one night I was doing it, my one supervisor was there and like I was so mad at the website. MSTC needs to do better.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
It is that
But
we talked about that, but that was the recording that, you know, it kicked me out of the Zoom again. But I now have an extender, like a Wi-Fi extender,
and honestly, it
and
seems to be doing great.
it's yeah. I tested it out Tuesday, um, and it not Tuesday, Wednesday. It seemed to do its thing. My son even did a internet speed test,
Mm.
and he was like, "Yeah, it's pretty good. It's way better than it was."
So yeah,
Yeah,
I was doing that the one night, and our daytime supervisors are very, you can't do anything else. You have to just watch the screen, yada yada yada. Like, bitch, if I just sit and watch the screen, my ass is gonna fall asleep.
yeah,
And that's actually how I ended up starting the snacking, was I was snacking to stay awake. And that added what, 100 plus pounds over the course of a couple years. So yeah. And so I was telling him, I was like, yeah, I got this, this, and this. I was like, and I haven't missed a single call yet. And he starts laughing. He's like, no, you haven't. I was like, yeah, multitasking what? But then last night, so I was doing my homework again last night, but when I was going out to do my laps, I was making sure to like interact with people because it's so frustrating to me. Like I needed something to like get the frustration out.
Mm.
And on my last break, I went and put my sweater in the break room before I went out to the gaming floor. And I was like literally in the doorway. And I turned, and my old supervisor was in the hallway, and someone was talking to him, and he just stops dead in his tracks and he's staring at me. And so I start making funny faces at him because that's what I do. And he turns to the person talking to him. He's like, wait, hold on. He's like, she just had a glow on her face. And I bust out laughing. I was like, but wait, wait, wait. And I like crab walk out to the hallway and I stand because he's got one of the trash carts there and it's a whole setup. And so like I'm spread across it and like I've got my hands on each side and I'm like, and he's like, yeah, 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 that's it.
Sounds like fun.
He saw the flash from my highlighter.
Gotcha.
And I thought it was just the funniest thing in the fucking world because I wear it like every day. Like, dude, where have you been? So it was just great. It
Yeah.
was very entertaining to me and like carried me through the rest of the night and got me all inspired. And I did a whole look last night. Yeah, it was fun.
Um, trying to think. I wasn't okay, how do I word this without okay, right, other than the bed and the tattoo, I've been finding it very difficult to get excited about anything. And like last night, I was telling my husband because I've got that investigation tonight. I'm like, if you want me to stay home, I will. But of course, the rest of me was thinking, no, don't say
Do I
it.
need to come slap you? Are
Well,
you
what it
okay?
is that I really am finding it difficult to get excited. Now that it's the day of, I'm so fucking excited. We're
Thank
going,
goodness.
yeah, yeah, I'm super excited. And I don't
Someone
want to,
better be like videoing me. Send me a message. Like if Dan's going live on Facebook, send me a message that he's going live so that I can come watch.
yeah, I'm sure he will, because he usually does.
But nobody sends me a message before anyone goes live, and then I catch it when y'all are at the end.
I never know. So, um, yeah,
I'll send him a message.
yeah, I wish you were closer and could go. Um, because it's gonna be the usual four suspects and Anne. Yeah.
You guys are gonna have a fucking blast. I'm so jealous. Someone better freaking call me. Someone better call me because I need to say
Apollo,
hi to everybody.
Apollo you
Okay.
or
Yeah, I
Zoom.
need to
I,
say hi.
I can maybe even do a quick Zoom. So yeah,
You
that's
guys.
tonight, and I am getting excited. Um, I don't know. I think for me, I don't know. I'm just finding it difficult to get excited about things. Like I've got the Gary Allen concert coming up. I should be freaking stoked because I'm second row, and now I'm like, meh.
Hmm.
It'll probably change though. I'm sure. Like
Yeah,
it
but it makes me wonder if it's a hormone thing.
could be. It could
That's
be.
my thought.
So, are you ready to restart?
Yes. Shall we go on this lovely piece of human?
Uh, yeah, I've already heard half, well, apparently not quite half of this. Um, and it's a shit person. So we'll go there.
Yeah.
So
We'll do the trigger warning straight off. Um, a lot of gore with some details. But either way, even without like full details, it's still a gruesome picture to paint for anybody. So yeah. Um, oh, me. I'm having issues with my computer and it wanting to show me pictures, but this is our human today. What the?
what?
My screen went black.
Huh.
That was weird.
I mean, it never went out.
So that's our human being suspect for today.
Well, I mean, that you're being very generous with that term.
I know. He's a human. We'll give him that much.
Mm,
Um, his name is Jamie Asuna. Um, and I had four sources kind of. KGET News, by Olivia Lavoie. She did a personal interview with him and also covered a couple of other stories. The LA Times, a Richard Winton did an article on him. And then there is a site on YouTube, called Witness to the Crime. They are freaking phenomenal. They have um any evidence that they have, like notes or additional video clips or anything like that, they put into their videos. So it's not like, okay, we watched this and this is what they said. It's here, watch this. This is what he said.
yeah.
So you actually see the firsthand accounting of him saying these things.
Okay.
So when I say he said, like I witnessed him saying it in the video. So just want to throw that out there. And the same for anything else. Like if I say he or she said, it's that I saw them do it in the video or I heard the recording of it because they even actually have 911 recordings that they, put into this video. So it's very awesome. Awesome job. So Mr. Asuna was born March 7th, 1988. Um, he didn't have the best of upbringings. Apparently, his mother was quite absentee. And then his stepfather, unfortunately, was of the stereotypical variety, I guess, in these types of cases. Very abusive. Um, he did Jamie had said at one point to his ex-wife that he was sexually assaulted, but never said by who. But then it is later said that he like had to eat on the floor, very much treated like an animal. He himself says that he was never really taught right from wrong. Um, so yeah, that kind of has a lot to do with it. Um, he did his first murder at 13, per his own words. Prior to that, he had been torturing and killing small animals. He even says that when his mom would go to the store or, gas station or whatever, he would take the cat and put it in the oven for like 15 minutes or put it in
With
the
the oven on.
freezer. Yeah. Or put it in the freezer for 15 minutes. Yeah. Random things like that, apparently, with animals.
Mm.
hmm hmm So the murder that got him nabbed was in November of 2011. He tortured and murdered and desecrated the corpse of Yvette Pena. But there's some things leading up to this, as there typically is.
Hmm.
Um, Although he did tell Olivia that it was a crime of opportunity, basically. He knew that she was in a location where people, if they heard anything, they weren't going to say anything.
Right.
He knew that she was going to be there alone, and so he did it. He also admitted that if he had the opportunity, he would again. Um, so he has an ex-wife, surprisingly. She says that she believes people are not born evil, they're made. It's a matter of nurture versus nature. She also says that he um, had revealed the abuse to her. Um, so he had said he was killing and torturing animals at 8 or 9. Um, oh, and I'm sorry, I was wrong at the age that he became a criminal. It was 15. And it was for stabbing another boy. Um, and this is actually how, when he meets the ex-wife. Um, the ex-wife was having a house party. She had several children, one of whom was 17, so he's in high school. Wanted to have a small get together with some friends. She allowed it. Um, she said her thought was that it was going to be 20, 30 people. Well, mm, it's high school. You tell 20 or 30 people, those 20 or 30 people each tell 20 or 30 people. You know how it goes.
Hmm.
But she also had her nephew living with her. Jamie is friends with this nephew. So if I'm not mistaken, she's having this party. She's having fun with the kids. She might have had a couple of drinks, she said. Wasn't drunk, but she's not a drinker. Yada yada. Anyway, she's dancing with some of the kids out on the floor. Apparently the nephew was not too pleased with this, and had mentioned something to Jamie. Jamie then goes to the kitchen, grabs a knife out of the butcher block, and goes and stabs the kid. Naturally, everybody around him runs. um, she didn't even really know what was going on until right before the police got there. Police get there. He's gone, nowhere to be found. She ends up getting a ticket, for underage drinking. Um, and so they're at home, cops have just left talking about how crazy it is, yada, yada, yada. Knock, knock, knock. Guess who's at the door? Jamie. He's like, oh yeah, I hid. He does end up going to juvie for a little while. And that was his first stint. Um, he has some fun stays. And he will say, or I'm sorry, he does say that if it wasn't for her, he never would have been caught. He never would have had all the problems that he had.
Well, I mean, why would he take accountability?
Exactly, exactly. Um, okay, so him and the ex-wife actually have a child. Um, Apparently things had gone well for a while. When he was doing his stint while he was in, um, she had kind of kept in contact with him. or I'm sorry, you know what? That doesn't sound right because I don't think he was 15 when the stabbing happened. I think he was in his 20s, early 20s. I'm just double checking to see if I have the age somewhere, but I don't see it.
When was the stabbing?
I don't have the year. I might reveal it here shortly because I'm gonna kind of give you the rundown of how their relationship went
Okay.
because this man is a true psychopath. Um, so he's in jail for the stabbing. Um, she is sending letters back and forth, not so much romantic, more friendly type of a
Hmm.
situation. He gets out and says, "Hey, will you meet me at this hotel?" She's like, "You know what? Sure. Why not?" Produces a child. Um, and during the pregnancy is when she falls in love with him because of how he treats her during the pregnancy and, how he treats the other kids, yada, yada. So great, so great. Um, until not. And that's usually how it goes. Um, apparently they would frequently fight. However, they would do it behind closed doors. So people didn't know that they were actually fighting. So
Okay.
even the kids in the house didn't know the extent of the fighting that would happen.
Okay. Well, good on the mom, I guess.
Yeah, but I still find that hard to believe. I mean, let's face it, even if you and Roy go into your room and have a huge argument,
Everyone can hear it.
y- exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I find odd. You got to have some real good fucking insulation. And I'm sorry, but considering the circumstances, I'm gonna say she ain't living in a brand new home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, I'm not saying it's worse, just saying. In most cases, when you're not in that higher tax bracket, you don't have the best of insulation, so everybody hears everything.
Well,
In most cases, not all.
I mean, I
Um,
guess it would depend how often her kids were home. Um, was there multi levels to the house? Um, because unless it gets real loud, my son upstairs don't hear shit and you're muted. It's okay. She's muted. Do not disturb is not always accurate.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He's gonna end up calling back in a minute. I know it. So anyway, they have a lot of fights. During one of these fights, Jamie tries to strangle Joelle. She manages to break a picture frame, get some glass, and end up slicing his arm.
Oh,
He proceeds to stop strangling her, grabs a black sock, sticks it to his arm, and duct tapes it on, and goes about his business.
sounds sanitary.
Um, so she called police, had him arrested. Um, but yeah, they just kept getting back together. Um, he ended up doing a small stint in for that. Um, she does have the child, or like during the time that she's supposed to have the baby, there's a warrant out for his arrest from her. But they make an agreement with the jail that he gets to see his son born and that he will turn himself in afterwards. Um, so he does get to see the baby after it's born, all that kind of stuff. He does finally turn himself in. He does his stint in jail. He gets out, they get back together. At this, like initially when they met, he didn't have all of the face tattoos. He had a couple, but it was this last stint in where he comes out and he's got like the full Joker smile and all of that.
Fun, fun.
Yeah, yeah. He also has a meth addiction when he comes home on that one. So the aggression and violence is, tenfold at this point. And he apparently lashes out at one of the other children. Um, to which she goes and grabs two knives and starts going after him. Mama
Okay.
Bear, don't go after her kids.
Yep.
Um, and since the kids don't really understand what's going on how this guy's switch flips, the kids are freaking out and are trying to protect Jamie from her.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, so she ends up putting out a restraining order on him, but he would taunt her and he would drive past her house and let her know he was driving past her house. And he would call her and leave her voicemails of all the things he wanted to do to her. And so she's trying to get police to her house because there's this restraining order.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, he hadn't made contact, but police aren't showing up.
Of course
And
not.
I wish I could slap the dispatcher in that case because, oh,
It's
she was
one of the
terrible.
911 calls.
Yeah, she was one of the terrible dispatchers. Yeah, she was a peach. Um, so at one point, um, after he's done like taunting her for the night, he goes away. A couple of days later, he gets another call, or sorry, she gets another call with him starting the call with, "Watch the news, bitch. I killed a woman at the Morocco." Yep.
Okay.
So she calls police and is like, hey, can you do me a favor and tell me if anything has happened to a woman at the Morocco? And they're like, huh? What are you talking about? We have no idea.
Of
We
course
we
not.
don't have anything like that. 5 days later, one of the cleaning crew finds sorry, no, sorry. So yeah, like she's trying to make sure that there isn't a woman suffering, anywhere or anything like that, explaining how he's a true psycho. Um, okay. So the employee called police after finding a body in room 19, saying that she was stabbed in the back and thought she was dead. However, in that original call, it's not noted that there is still items sticking out of her back. Like he just left it, like he just anything he could find.
Mm.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mm-mm.
Um, and Yvette had been living in the hotel for a few months. It wasn't in the best part of town. She didn't have an easy life. A lot of the tenants in this hotel were people who had recently been released from prison, um, streetwalkers, things like that. Um, so when Yvette had been a child, her and her sister were molested by their mother's boyfriend. Um, and she had carried that guilt with her, for not being able to protect her sister and things like that. So she had been a heavy drug user, um, you know, life kind of not the easiest. She had had multiple children, all of which had been taken away for drugs. Um, at the time of her death, she had just been trying to get her youngest child back. Um, and it was unsuccessful. So she had been on a current downslope because of that. Um, the boyfriend, the man who molested her, did end up going to prison. But a lot of mom issues, a lot of guilt issues. So
Yeah.
a lot of mental struggle there. Um, okay, so the report showed that she was beaten, with blunt force, stabbed with some items still protruding from her body, and strangled, which was um, referred to as asphyxiation. And it was blunt force, stabbing, and asphyxiation that was listed on her death certificate. Um, and again, he claimed to kill her out of opportunity, saying it was a parolee and drug area. So no one, spoke up to anything. And during the interview he had with, what was her name? Olivia. Um, he says he had killed two people prior to her. He didn't give any names, but said that his first was at 13 and that his victim was a 27-year-old.
Oh,
And then again in 2007, which was a 32-year-old woman. The first one at 13, he doesn't say whether or not it's a man or a woman, just says that they were 27. Versus the one in 2007, he specifically states that it was a woman. And neither of these have been substantiated. My guess would be because he hasn't told anyone he did it. Um, and apparently she had also been gagged. Um, and some of the items that were used were knives and scissors. Um,
oh,
he goes on to explain that killing is a rush, similar to if you do a drug, and that you're then chasing that rush. And he would often think back on things like he would love to get pictures of his crime scenes, which he
hmm.
did have some. He was allowed to have some. And he's like, that's the best thing. He's like, because then I can think about it and think back to all of the things that I did, and it makes me happy.
He has pictures of the crime scenes.
He did, yes.
Okay.
I don't know how he managed to be allowed that. I really don't.
No, I don't either.
Um,
I mean, I
he
guess if
also,
any was showed in court, I guess.
yeah, would be my guess that I think that's how he managed to be able to have them. He says that it is better than any drug, and that he would rather do that, as in killing, than have sex with the world's sexiest woman.
Mm.
And that he has no remorse and that he would do it again.
Well then,
Hmm. Hmm.
sounds like a nice guy.
Yeah. So he went under extensive psychological and sociological testing while he was in the county lockup, which determined he was high risk to others. Imagine that. He had been caught multiple times with several makeshift weapons. Um, and when he was transferred to a prison, he was always housed alone, being in complete isolation, with the exception of 1 hour a day where he was let out for his rec time. Um, Unfortunately, in 2019, there was a man transferred into a cell with him.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I think I know where this is going.
Prior to this man being placed in the cell with him, Jamie had made it into another inmate cell, unfortunately for that other inmate. Um, he was given the Joker smile, received over 40 stitches. Mhm. Um, and Jamie requested photos of that and was denied.
Oh, well, thankfully, thankfully.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. So this man who was put into a cell with Jamie was, oh shoot, I just had it. Luis Romero. Um, he had been serving his own murder sentence, which he was nearing the end of. He was actually nearing parole time. Um, hold on. I don't want to give you the details of what happened yet.
Secretive.
Oh, I remember why, because I had the other article up that had all the details of it. Um, Shoot. Let me see if I can find it on this one. No. Okay. So, Romero was transferred to this prison due to the fact that he was becoming a parolee soon. Um, he was in for a murder of a woman who was a part of a rival gang. Um, it's not 100% whether or not he actually committed the murder. He just kind of happened to be a part of the group that did it. One of those kinds of things.
Mhm.
Um, but he was said to not actually be, a violent person. Um, okay, I found it. Haha. He had been in for 27 years for second degree murder, fatally shooting a woman. He was a teen when it happened. Um, okay, so he had been having some issues with some guards in the whole process of everything when he was put into Romero's cell. He had arrived at the prison on March 7th. His body was discovered the morning of March 9th.
Mm.
There were so many fucking red flags in this situation that it is unreal. And I'm honestly upset that the redaction of action was taken. And I'll get to that. Jamie's birthday.
March 7th.
Yep. That's when he receives a roommate. I would imagine that things didn't happen immediately when he was placed into the cell. I would imagine it was the next day. And Romero had a white sheet covering his window that the guards never forced him to take down. That's a huge red flag. You're
Yeah.
not allowed to do that at all.
Huh.
It doesn't matter if it's the window, if it's the cell door, nothing. You are not allowed to cover them. And if you do cover it, you are forced to take it down. If you don't take it down, they take it down for you and you go to the hole.
Right.
Like that is legit how that works. I know that. That's not even from watching movies. There's a lot of noises coming from his cell. Nobody investigated. Guards have to do checks. In some cases, it's every hour. In some cases, it's every 2. And in some, it's every 4. I'm going to guess, considering where he was, it was an every 2-hour check. There's no way checks could have been adequately performed with a fucking sheet over the window.
No.
And there is no way the amount of damage that was done could have been done in 2 hours, considering. So let's discuss what he did. This man was brutally tortured. It is also even stated that they believe he was alive for a portion of it.
That
His official
always
cause,
makes it worse.
his official cause of death, blood loss.
Okay.
And that's why they believe he was alive for a portion of it. Jamie had a razor blade with a makeshift handle. That's what he used. The corpse was propped on the bed and posed. And Jamie was sitting there wearing a necklace of body parts.
Ugh.
That's what they walked into the morning of March 9th, 2019. Into a cell in prison. And people wonder why we think our inmates aren't safe. He had been given the Joker smile, given ear to ear. He had been missing an eye, an ear, and his head had actually been severed.
With a razor blade.
Razor.
That absolutely took more than 2 hours.
Oh, that's not all. It is also said that his chest was cut open. Sorry, I'm trying to find the exact spot here. Okay, so he was gutted. He had been missing several fingers. He was also missing part of his ribs and a lung. I don't believe it was the whole lung. I think it was just part of the lung. I could be wrong. There is no way, no fucking way that this happened in 2 hours, even in 4 hours.
Mm-mm.
Even if there's checks every 4 hours, there's no fucking way a person could have done all of that with a razor blade in that amount of time. Can't tell
But
me any check was. adequately performed in that time.
No, that I don't know. To me, almost all like there had to be another weapon. 'Cause there's no way a razor blade is going to do all of that.
No,
It's-
however, if you use, you know what? No, I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not gonna reveal my sociopath side. Um, I understand how it's possible. I do.
Not just one razor blade. You cannot convince me one razor blade did all of that.
If you can get through certain sections, hands can do a lot of the work.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't just a razor blade that was used.
Well, yeah, I mean, he had to have used his hands, you know. So apparently, the necklace was intestine, long, ear. Yeah.
Okay.
hmm He had also written various things all over the room,
In blood,
such
I'm
as,
assuming.
yes, in blood. Um, ha ha ha, like the Joker, and why so serious?
Of course. Had to be cliche in there.
Had to be. Um, Also had to do the typical pentagram on the floor. Yep. Um, he was a self-proclaimed Satanist. Um, the Satanists would not claim him. Hate to say, they wouldn't. They'd be like, "Nope, you fucked up. That's not what we're about." Um, Sorry, just double checking here. Okay. According to the LA Times, the Kings County Executive Assistant District Attorney Phil Espenshade called it the most heinous slaying he had ever seen.
It definitely sounds like that is not an exaggeration.
Mhm.
Sounds terrible.
Yep, and he is the one who says that they believe the victim was partial or was conscious during at least part of the time.
Mm.
And again, the cause of death was blood loss. Um, I'm not 100% how old he was because I didn't write it down like an idiot. Um, so yeah. So the guards. One was fired. One was put on suspension. Um, I want to say it was 6 months, something like that. That was it. For
Mm.
essentially murder, because they already knew anyone who went into a cell with him was gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
They knew. Everybody knew. He's one of those ones where you stay the fuck away from him,
Well,
you know?
maybe,
Even the
maybe,
other inmates know to stay the fuck away from those people.
I mean, maybe if he was having trouble with the guards, it wasn't an accident.
And that's the thought. However, the decision was overruled, and the guard who was fired was put on suspension with pay.
Of course.
And the guard who was suspended, his sentence was shortened. Um, and I believe it was down to 2 or 3 months, and it went from without pay to with pay.
Mm.
Mhm, mhm. His mother did file charges against the prison, um, And at the time, I don't believe it had gone to trial. Um, it may have gone to trial by now. This is the second, no, third time I think he would be up for the death sentence. In the process of the Yvette Pena case, he had been up for the death sentence twice and beat it twice. So, yeah, we'll see how this one goes because California still has the death sentence.
Mm. Oh, gruesome.
Mhm, mhm. That's why I gave the trigger at the beginning because there's a whole lot of trigger in there.
Yeah, that's pretty gruesome.
Yeah. So yeah, as far as I know, he's still sitting in prison. I believe it's Bakersfield, California, or somewhere around that area. Yeah, still wearing his Joker fat face mask tattoo and waiting for a trial to determine when he's gonna die.
Mm. Well, hopefully he gets it and they carry it through
Yeah,
because
yeah.
yuck, yuck.
Hmm.
And um, does it say anything about like that the ex-wife is doing okay now?
Yes, there is another video where they do a more extensive interview with her. She has had a lot of therapy. Um, she is doing better. She has a great support system around her. The child is older now, obviously. He does know who his father is and what he's done.
That poor
Um,
baby.
yeah, unfortunately. And it wasn't something that she had told him or anything like that. You know, it wasn't a, hey, this is who your dad is. He's a piece of shit. Um, it was he found it
Okay.
kind of a thing. Which, to be honest, I think I would prefer that in a weird way. You know what I mean? But
Now,
at the same time, like, mm, he's a fucking psychopath.
yeah, I
He
mean,
he should have a warning label.
yeah, I guess as a parent, I would want to tell the child in my way versus stumbling across and then reading comments, like especially if he knew who his dad was
Hmm.
and maybe he loved his dad. And then you go and you
And
see this and see comments and then, then you're ruined.
right. See, and I think it was that like he knew some, but not all, kind of a thing.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think he knew like he could be a good guy, but he wasn't a good guy, and that he was in prison. You know, my guess would be he knew that it was for murder, but probably didn't know details.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? But then he had like found the details and went, holy shit, kind of a
Yeah.
thing as a kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree, that I would probably want it to be said my way.
Yeah. I mean, and let the kid know you might see things, because especially this day and age, everyone has access to, things like that. And, you know, kids are little shits on the computer if they don't think they have any supervision. Um, and yeah, mm, I know this. Um, I can remember once, how like when you go to type something in, like initially everything, and I saw some websites that I was like, I didn't go to that one. And the only one that had been on the computer was my son. And yeah, so I had to sit down and talk to him about, there's certain websites you cannot go to.
Yep, I couldn't have
Um,
that dog.
yeah, so I know kids can be sneaky when you're not hovering.
Yep.
So, I mean, if the kid's going to be online and stumble across something, especially living in the area, I'm sure shit like that's big news.
Yeah, he
Gonna,
he was headlines multiple times
yeah,
for
he's
multiple
gonna
days.
find it. So as a parent, I would rather, you know, kind of ease him into it a little bit before finding that
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
yeah,
Um, and like when I made the comment, like instead of saying, okay, she just sat and bashed the guy, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Because that happens so often, you
right,
know, but it sounds like it wasn't always all bad, and that kind of a combination of psychopathy and drugs
yeah.
made it go
Oh,
to,
sorry.
or rather drugs made the psychopathy that much more, I
Hmm.
think, to where he did actually fully lash out.
Yeah,
I honestly, I don't know about the other instances where he says he murdered people, because like I said, they were unsubstantiated, but who knows?
yeah. So,
And that reminds me, I have a question to ask you when we're not recording.
okay, okay.
Yep, I'm weird.
Aren't we all?
Yep. So
That's
yeah,
why we're here.
yep, that was my lovely piece of human specimen for this week.
Well, I'm gonna say you are very kind with using the term human. Very kind.
I mean, looks like a duck, walks like a duck.
It looks like a duck, walks like a duck. It's a piece of shit. So,
Oh, buddy.
in this case, for sure.
Yes. Unfortunately, in this case, he is a trash human.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. So, and I think I would have to agree with her, the ex-wife, Joelle, that it was a case of nature versus nurture.
Hmm.
Um, I think if his upbringing would have been different, he probably would have turned out a lot different.
Yeah.
So, and unfortunately, that's the case, I think, in a lot of these cases.
Oh,
You
for
know,
sure. For sure.
if they just would have had a little bit of love, a little bit of compassion, as kids and growing up,
Less abuse,
things could have been
some understanding.
right.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe some therapists in there. I'm sure those would have been needed for a few of them.
Yeah. 100%.
Childhood therapy. Uh, so yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
quite fun.
Well, I mean, good work on that one. I'm sorry you had to have that in your head, but
I came across it and I was like, whoa.
yeah.
Um, and it was the picture that grabbed my attention, not gonna lie. I was
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
Joker pentagram. What the fuck? So I had to look into it.
Yeah.
And apparently he did use fear a lot in getting people to do what he wanted, and do various things as far as, saying, oh, I'm gonna, sit the devil on you, and, I'm gonna kill you all, and, just various horrible things,
Yeah.
to say to people to put the fear in them. So, yeah, just trash human.
Anything good and exciting coming up?
No,
No.
that's what I'm gonna
Nope.
need friend therapy next week.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I got my investigation tonight. And tomorrow I'm hoping after the busy week I've had, I kind of have like a day of rest. We'll see though, because I'm sure I'm gonna find a recipe and want to cook or bake something.
I think I might get a day of rest on Wednesday.
Yeah, yeah.
I might. I'm not gonna hold my breath. I'm sure something's gonna crop up.
Probably. That's usually how it goes. I was initially thinking, okay, after this week, next week I got nothing. And then when chiropractor's like, I'd like to see you back on Monday or next week. But Monday with being, holiday week, it my days were limited. So
Understandable.
Monday it is. So all right. Well, I hope everyone has an amazing week.
We'll see you next
S-
time.
Sorry again that we have another late one. This one is all me.
Wasn't all. It was me one day too.
Yeah, but mostly me. So all right. Bye.
Bye.